He had no idea it was his last morning. 30 years old, still fierce, still aggressive, still burning with the exact same fire that once made the entire continent of Europe stop breathing. The man who cared for him walked into that stable on March 3rd, 2026, and found him exactly as he always was, demanding, hungry, alive, completely and utterly himself. And then, just hours later, he was gone. No warning, no slow decline, no final goodbye. Just silence, where a legend used to stand. This was the horse that paralysed all of Europe at just 2 years old. The horse that became champion sire of an entire nation. Not once, not twice, but 7 consecutive times. The horse that produced 32 champions across 3 continents and carried the blood of a sheikh through 3 decades of glory. And on one completely ordinary Tuesday morning in Italy, the world lost him forever. But here is what nobody is telling you. The last words ever spoken over Mujahid will absolutely break you. Stay right here. On January the 31st, 1996, in the rolling bluegrass lands of Kentucky, USA, a bay foal with a white blaze and 3 white socks took his very first breath. He didn't know it yet, but the world of horse racing would one day bow at his feet. Bred and owned by the legendary Sheikh Hamdan Al Maktoum through his prestigious Shadwell Farm, this colt carried in his veins the blood of the great Danzig, a bloodline that practically breathed speed. Named Mujahid, meaning one who strives with all his strength, the name alone felt like a prophecy. He was sent across the Atlantic to train in England under the masterful eye of trainer John Dunlop, a man who knew greatness when he saw it. And from the very first time Mujahid set foot on a British training ground, Dunlop knew. He knew this horse was different. This horse had something rare, something almost dangerous, something that made the earth tremble when he ran. When Mujahid stepped onto the racetrack for the first time as a 2-year-old in 1998, nobody could have predicted what was about to happen. He entered his debut novice race at Newmarket, and he won, cleanly, confidently, like he had already done it 1,000 times before. Then he went to Salisbury for the Trinity Stakes, and he won again. Jockey Richard Hills, the man who would ride him in all 12 of his career outings, could feel it with every stride. This horse didn't just run, he commanded the track. He moved with the kind of effortless power that makes every other horse look ordinary. 3 wins from 4 starts as a juvenile. Earnings of £189,134 and a reputation that was spreading like wildfire across every stable, every grandstand and every betting ring in Britain. People were whispering the same thing. This horse is something special. And they had absolutely no idea how right they were. And then came October 1998. The stage, Newmarket Racecourse, the race, the G1 Dewhurst Stakes, the most prestigious 2-year-old race in all of Britain. The field was stacked, the expectations were enormous, the pressure was suffocating, and yet Mujahid didn't flinch. Richard Hills guided him into position, and when the moment came, Mujahid exploded. He swept past the competition with a blistering 2-length victory over Auction House, leaving the crowd absolutely stunned. The stands erupted. Sheikh Hamdan's racing colours crossed the finish line first, and in that single, brilliant, breathtaking moment, Mujahid became the #1 rated 2-year-old in all of Europe. Not just in Britain, not just in Ireland, in all of Europe. He had climbed to the very top of the mountain, and he had made it look easy. That night, the name Mujahid echoed across every racing nation on the planet. After his racing days were over, Mujahid didn't fade into the shadows. Far from it. He began a brand new chapter, one that would ultimately prove even more defining than his career on the track. He retired to Beach House Stud in England, where he began his life as a breeding stallion. Breeders came from everywhere, drawn to that Danzig blood, that Dewhurst pedigree, that champion lineage. For several seasons, he was even shuttled down to Widden Stud in Australia, where he connected with Southern Hemisphere mares and produced offspring that lit up racetracks from Sydney to Melbourne. In total, Mujahid became the sire of 32 individual stakes winners, including the magnificent Danley, who went on to claim multiple Group 1 titles in Australia. The champion had become a kingmaker. In 2008, Mujahid made his final journey to Allevamento di Besnate in Italy, nestled in the quiet countryside near Milan. And what happened there was nothing short of extraordinary. Italy, a nation not traditionally known as a powerhouse of thoroughbred racing, fell completely and utterly in love with this horse. His sons and daughters ran week after week in group races, listed races, handicaps, and they were always competitive, always honest, always tough, just like their father. Paolo Crespi, the man who cared for him at the stud, said it best. If you had a racehorse by Mujahid, you would never be let down, and the numbers proved it. 7 times. 7 times Mujahid was crowned champion sire of Italy. 7. A record that may never be matched. A legacy carved in stone. On March 3rd, 2026, the call came from Italy. Mujahid, at the age of 30 years old, had passed away at Allevamento di Besnate. He had lived a longer life than most thoroughbreds ever dream of, and remarkably, there was no dramatic illness, no sudden tragedy. He had simply lived his full, magnificent life, and when his time came, he went the same way he lived, with dignity. Paolo Crespi, with tears behind every word he spoke, described his final days. He was always aggressive, eager to cover a mare or to eat a ton of hay. He was the same every day, until his last one, and then he was gone. Shadwell, the organisation that owned him his entire life, released a statement of deep gratitude for the Italian team's lifelong dedication. The world of racing went quiet. When the news broke, social media across the horse racing world erupted, not in controversy, not in debate, but in pure, raw, unfiltered grief. Racing fans from Britain, Australia, Italy, and the Middle East all said the same thing. They said they remembered watching him at Newmarket in 1998. They said they had horses by him that won races they'll never forget. They said he represented something rare in this sport, a horse that gave everything, asked for nothing, and delivered his very best whether he was competing for a Group 1 crown or simply grazing in a paddock in Italy. He was more than a racehorse. He was family, and the world mourned him like one. Mujahid is gone, but legends, true legends, never really die. They live in the bloodlines of their children. They live in the memories of every race fan who ever cheered their name. If this story moved you, give this video a like, share it with every racing fan you know, and subscribe, because we honor legends here. Rest easy, Mujahid. You earned it.